Welcome to this explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to guide you through today's breakdown. Today we aren't just talking about a football player. We're really analyzing a living, breathing era of the sport. We are looking at the eternal magic of Lionel Messi. It's this incredible story of defying the odds, rewriting the history books, and proving that true genius doesn't just fade away, it evolves. So get comfortable and let's unravel exactly how this one man continues to bend the footballing universe to his will. Right off the bat, let's dive into this staggering number, 38. Now, in the grueling, high-speed world of international football, 38 is typically an age where players are retiring, maybe looking back at their past glories from the comfort of a nice TV studio. But for Lionel Messi, it's just another opportunity to completely defy time. He is 38 years old, and yet he's still out there on the international pitch, leaving defenders completely in the dust and casually breaking records that most players couldn't even dream of touching in their absolute prime.
So that brings us to Section 1, the 38-year-old magician, a historic night.
Okay, picture this. Tuesday night, Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. You have the roar of tens of thousands of fans echoing through the stands. Argentina, the defending World Cup champions, are facing off against Algeria. Going into it, it kind of felt like a routine match, right? A guaranteed victory. But it wasn't just a win. Let's actually walk through the timeline of how Messi authored the impossible here. In the 17th minute, Rodrigo de Paul slips this clever little pass into the box. Messi's waiting, and he unleashes a fierce left-footed strike right past the keeper. Fast forward to the 57th minute. A shot from Alexis McAllister gets deflected. While everybody else is still trying to process where the ball went, Messi is already there, effortlessly tapping it in. And then finally, the 76th minute. A back pass from Nicolas Gonzalez lands perfectly at Messi's feet, and he just clinically finishes it. Boom. His very first World Cup hat-trick. And in doing so, he became the absolute oldest player in history to achieve this, shattering the previous record held by none other than Cristiano Ronaldo.
But there's a sheer poetry to this moment that you just can't make up. Look at who is actually standing in the goal for Algeria. Lucas Zidane, the son of the legendary French footballer Zinedine Zidane. Now think about this timeline for a second. Zinedine Zidane played his final World Cup back in 2006. Well, that happens to be the exact same tournament where a young Lionel Messi made his World Cup debut. Fast forward exactly 20 years to 2026, and Messi is securing a historic hat-trick by scoring past the son of a fellow footballing deity. I mean, it literally bridges two entirely different generations of the sport perfectly.
And this really illustrates the sheer magnitude of that single night. With those 3 goals, Messi's total World Cup tally surged to 16, so he's now sitting right up at the very top, perfectly tied with Germany's Miroslav Klose for the most goals in World Cup history. He has literally left an entire pantheon of legends, Brazil's Ronaldo, Germany's Gerd Müller, France's Kylian Mbappe, just trailing in his wake.
Which brings us to Section 2, the paper napkin promise and where it started.
To truly understand these heights we're talking about, we actually have to flash back from the massive, screaming crowds of American stadiums to the quiet, humble streets of Rosario, Argentina. Because the boy who would become a footballing god actually started out incredibly fragile. As a child, Messi didn't just have this wild passion for the ball. He had a very severe medical hurdle. It was a growth hormone deficiency. It severely restricted his physical development, making him significantly smaller than all the other kids his age. And the treatment? It was incredibly expensive. His family simply didn't have the financial means to cover the medical costs, and local clubs in Argentina were really hesitant to foot the bill. So he was literally on the verge of slipping through the cracks.
But then, in the year 2000, Barcelona offered him a 2-week trial, and he absolutely dazzled them. Even so, the club's board hesitated on paying those expensive medical bills. So understandably frustrated, Messi's representatives threatened to take him somewhere else. Fearing they were about to lose a once-in-a-lifetime generational talent, Barcelona's sporting director, Carlos Rexha, who happened to be at a hotel with no official paper on hand, made a move of pure desperation. He grabbed a literal paper napkin off the table and wrote, "Carlos Rexha hereby agrees to sign the player Lionel Messi." That flimsy little napkin literally changed the entire trajectory of football history.
Let's look at Section 3, Barcelona to Golden Ball, unprecedented dominance.
So we go from a fragile boy signing a napkin in a hotel straight into an era of absolute unprecedented club dominance. Once Messi actually joined Spain's famous La Masia Academy, the explosion of his talent was just impossible to contain. His dribbling, his speed, his otherworldly vision, it was all clicking.
After debuting for the senior team in 2004, he went on an absolute tear. We're talking 778 games played for Barcelona, an unbelievable 672 goals scored. He brought home 10 La Liga titles and 4 Champions League trophies. And across his time at Barcelona and later PSG, he secured a record-breaking 8 Ballon d'Or awards. He was just cementing his status as the best player on the planet over and over and over again.
But the magic certainly didn't stop in Europe. He recently transitioned over to the United States, joining Inter Miami. And the impact was completely instant. He didn't just go over there for a quiet early retirement tour. He immediately led the club to a Leagues Cup title. He's continued to be this relentless force, constantly racking up double-digit goals and assists. He's proving that no matter what continent he is playing on, his ability to just completely influence the game and secure hardware remains 100% intact.
Moving right along to Section 4, Heartbreak to World Champions, National Team Struggles.
Now, every hero's journey has its deep valleys, right? While his club career was basically paved with gold, his journey wearing the blue and white stripes of Argentina was, for a really long time, defined by agonizing struggle and just heavy, heavy criticism. You have this unmatched wealth and adoration over in Europe, contrasting so sharply with national nightmares. I mean, think back to the devastating 2014 World Cup final loss, which was then followed by 2 consecutive Copa America heartbreaks. The criticism back in his home country grew so loud and the heartbreak felt so incredibly heavy that Messi even announced a brief, emotional retirement from international football. Honestly, for a while there, it really seemed like the ultimate prize would forever elude him.
But then came the emotional roller coaster that was the 2022 World Cup. It actually started out like a total nightmare, with a shock opening loss to Saudi Arabia. But they rallied. They pushed through, leading to a spectacular final against France where Messi scored 2 incredibly crucial goals, fighting tooth and nail in what a lot of people consider to be the greatest final ever played. And finally, ultimate glory. He lifted the World Cup trophy. It wasn't just a win, you guys. It was pure redemption. The unfinished story finally had its perfect, beautiful conclusion.
And finally, Section 5, An Unending Football Era, A New Beginning.
Because here's the thing, that perfect conclusion wasn't an ending at all. It was actually just a new beginning. We aren't just talking about a great player who is slowly aging out of the sport. We are looking at a man who continues to redefine the very boundaries of longevity and excellence. Just look at this remarkable journey. 2006, he's a fresh-faced teenager making his debut. 2014 brings that agonizing finalist heartbreak. 2022, he becomes the ultimate champion. And now, extending right into 2026, marking a historic 6th appearance. By stepping onto the pitch for this current tournament, Lionel Messi became the first male footballer in history to play in 6 different World Cups. I mean, just imagine that. 2 full decades of consistently performing at the absolute pinnacle of the sport.
So, the question I really want to leave you with today is this. When you see Lionel Messi step onto the pitch, effortlessly dribble past a defender, or curl a ball beautifully into the back of the net, are we just watching a football match? Or are we incredibly privileged to be witnessing the greatest historical timeline of the sport unfolding right in front of our eyes in real time? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep analyzing, keep learning, and I'll see you next time.